Searchers look for victims of a suspected gas explosion.
I'm Christine Buck. Coming up tonight, I'll tell you about a St. Louis man who won a nationwide contest. He's being called the Single Father of the Year, and these tapes had a lot to do with it. I'll explain. Coming up on 11 News at 9.
Explosion at a homeless shelter in Montreal has rescuers searching for survivors.
Plus, a single dad is singled out for a job well done. That's in our next 20 minutes.
Here,
a single dad receives some special recognition.
Christine Buck will have that story. Also, some racers who put the treadmill to the metal. Details when we come back.
If you're divorced, you're certainly not alone. Did you know that America has the highest divorce rate in the world?
And that 1/2 of all marriages in this country end in divorce. A divorce occurs every 26 seconds here in the U.S. Other sobering facts include 1 out of every 2 marriages ends in divorce. Locally, 50,000 kids are affected by divorce each and every year. And 90% of divorced mothers in Missouri have custody of their children. 11 News at 9's Christine Buck has the story of a divorced father who doesn't have custody of his daughter, but has found creative ways to always be in her life.
Dr. Mark Rolnick and his 14-year-old daughter Jennifer are moving into his apartment. Finally, it's just a mile away from where Jennifer lives with her mother.
But there was a time Mark lived more than 1,000 miles away from his little girl. From the time she was born until she was 5 years old, he stayed in touch by sending videotapes, and he created his own fictitious radio show.
KDAD, K-Daddy Radio. Jennifer's birthday soon. She's going to be 3 years old on December 30th. Right, Jennifer?
The tapes and the videos he sent from New York kept Mark in touch with Jennifer, who realized early on that her dad was never far away.
He's always been there for me when I needed him, and because of him, I have a father. You know, not all the fathers go out, do all that stuff just to be with their kids.
How many dads would hide under the blankets and create a puppet show with Jennifer's favorite Sesame Street characters?
I was playing with Bert and Oscar and Cookie Monster and Big Bird.
Mark's dedication to Jennifer is paying off. He's won a national contest and has been named the Single Father of the Year. He appreciates the attention, but says it was his responsibility to find ways to stay in touch.
I did nothing less than what I had older. I mean, if I lived 10,000 miles away, she didn't deserve. Well, she deserved to have 2 parents, and it wasn't her fault that we were living miles apart.
Jennifer admits she rarely watches these tapes. After all, she's 14 years old, but her father's antics still make her smile.
It sounds so trite. Everybody says the same thing. Don't use the kids as pawns and this and that, but you really have to keep the kids up on your #1 priority.
Big Bird said you should brush your teeth, too. Okay, and I love you, and I'll see you soon again, all right?
Christine Buck, 11 News at 9.
One of the sponsors of Mark's trip is the organization Great Expectations. He won that trip to Hawaii for 2, and yes, you guessed it, he's taking Jennifer.
Well, it's the first.
All right, Wendy, and you know being a single dad can be tough, but this man didn't let distance separate him from his daughter. Hear this inspiring story next.
Live from Channel 5, it's Show Me St. Louis.
We got a long day tomorrow, but it's going to be worth it.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Bring her off.
That's right. Well, you know, parents, you'll do just about anything to keep that bond with your children strong.
But this man took that mission one step farther. Find out how he kept close ties with his daughter when he lived in New York. Meet the Single Dad of the Year next. I'm waiting to see him in person, too.
Exactly. Now, I doubt if any dads would want those weird-looking eyes, but Father's Day is less than a week away, and one St. Louis dad is receiving a special gift, a special honor. Mark Rolnick is America's 1998 Single Father of the Year. He is proof that being a dad takes commitment. He refused to let miles and marital problems come between he and his daughter.
Well, it all started in 1984. Yeah, they moved back to St. Louis from New York, and I was left there not knowing how, if, when I would see my daughter again.
Determined to be a good dad, Mark Rolnick committed his time and money to fly every 3 weeks to St. Louis to spend time with his daughter, Jennifer.
In between those trips, I said, how else can I make sure that she knows who I am and sees me? Then I started with these videos and audio tapes, and I just started doing my clown bit in front of the video camera in an apartment all by myself.
Hi, little Pupsky baby. Happy Valentine's Day. I love you.
Holidays, birthdays, any day he missed his daughter, a video was created. Each included a kiss.
I'll give you a Valentine's Day kiss right now and a hug. Here it comes.
And I would dance on TV, and she would dance with me, and I'd kiss her on the TV screen. She'd kiss the TV screen, and so she saw me almost every day. She probably saw me more by me living 1,000 miles away than if I was here seeing her every other weekend. She probably wouldn't have seen me every day.
The tapes would come complete with cartoons and music videos produced by Dad.
I haven't seen these. This is the first time I'm watching this. Today is actually the first time I've seen this one since I made it, I guess. I didn't even remember this one.
For Mark's daughter, these tapes are happy memories, a reminder of her father's love when she was young. As a teenager now, she says Dad can be a little annoying, like when he sings her one of his old tunes.
Moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow.
It's evident Mark and Jennifer share a special bond. They go for walks, they talk, and they hope other single dads will take note.
Don't give up. Kids need two parents to be brought up, like, properly, brought up right.
I'll be looking at the moon. When you're 70, 80, 90 years old, you're not going to look back at life and say, boy, I'm glad I got that red sports car with the convertible. My life is worth something. You're going to look back and say, you know, my kids, I had a kid, I had a daughter, I had a son. They grew up to be really good people, and I raised them. And, you know, that's what life is going to be about. You.
Since 1988, Mark has lived in St. Louis so that he'd be only a few blocks away from his daughter, Jennifer. And for winning the Single Father of the Year contest, which was sponsored by Great Expectations Dating Service, he wins a trip for two to Hawaii, and you guessed it, he's taking his daughter.
He deserves it.
Yeah.
Oh, what a neat dad.
Yeah.
Good for both of them.
Absolutely.
Well, put on some great walking shoes and old clothes. We're going spelunking. Go deep below the earth.
So what are we doing this? We're here today to spend a little bit of time and talk about something. And why am I doing this? Because I thought about this year. In the last, I don't know, 10 years, 12 years, 20 years of your life, has anybody ever seen a special on television before Father's Day? Anybody remember America acknowledging fathers in this country? And we wonder why so many young men relegate their responsibility to someone else to be a father once they know they've impregnated somebody, because we don't seem to give a damn about fathers for some reason. Why is it not as important for us to have a Father's Day special as it is for us to have a Mother's Day special? Is that what little care we put into it? Well, let me tell you something. We're here today, we want to spend an hour honoring some young men and women who, like Richard, young men, I'm sorry, who, like Richard, stepped up to the plate to take on the tremendous responsibility of being a father and a parent. And two children, and to be there to nurture, and that's what you do. Let me take a break. We'll be back.
And you're a good girl, right? You don't cry because it's fun, and mommy comes to pick you up later and takes you home. Isn't that fun? And you talk to the other children. And you talk about, you tell them Daddy comes to visit you, and Daddy loves you.
Hi there. On the next Montel Williams show, these young women were devastated to learn they were HIV positive.
I figured, how many more years do I have to live?
Now they're determined to stay positive about life. Their inspiring stories, plus the truth about the disease that
knew this was good.
About the disease that doesn't discriminate. On the next Montel.
Please welcome Jennifer to the show. Jennifer, this is a little different. This is an intact family. Your father's a little different. Why don't you tell us why your father's so special?
Well, when I was 10 months old, my parents got separated, and my mom moved back to St. Louis. They lived in New York. And my dad still lived in New York, and every 3 weeks he would fly back and forth to see me for about 5 years.
Back and forth from New York to St. Louis every 3 weeks to see you.
And he moved into Florida in between there, so then it would be from Florida to St. Louis and back and forth.
And while you were away and growing up, he kept, if he didn't fly in, he kept sending you, what, videotapes of him?
He kept sending me videotapes. He'd put movies I'd like on there, movies he thought I liked, and like at the beginning and in the middle, and at the end he'd have him on the videotapes and saying, like, I love you, and he'd give the camera a hug and a big kiss and tell me to do the same thing.
And he'd send you notes. He wrote you all the time, letters all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Constantly saying, you know, the reason why I wanted to acknowledge Mark is because there's so many marriages in America that end in divorce and the person just takes off, and we just completely forget about our responsibility of staying in touch with our children. You know, even if it's just a phone call, one phone call every couple of weeks, one phone call a week, a letter once in a blue moon. I think this is part of what helps our children grow. Your dad did send you some very special videotapes when you were little. Take a look at this one. You'll probably remember this. Take a look at this.
Are you being a good girl, by the way? You go to school? You go play with your friends in the morning and the afternoon, huh? Mommy takes you to see your friends at the nice place and the teacher. You be a good girl there, right? You share and you play with toys and you play with the other children. Isn't that fun? You like to play with the other children? Yeah. And you're a good girl, right? You don't cry because it's fun and Mommy comes to pick you up later and takes you home. Isn't that fun? And you talk to the other children? You tell them Daddy comes to visit you and Daddy loves you, huh? And you tell them that you saw the big fishies in the water. Remember when you were here, you saw the big fishy? You went splashing up in the air and you got all wet. Do you talk to Daddy on the telephone? Do you talk to me on the telephone? You have to pick up the telephone and say hello to me when I call, all right? You hear the phone ring. You say, Mommy, I'll get it. And you talk to Daddy. You pick up and say, hi, Daddy. How you doing? And me and Dumbo the elephant will talk to you, okay? You like that?
Please welcome Mark to the show. Okay, so you won't be hosting a show, Mark, but it was a good tape.
I made that one last week for her, too.
Did you make that? Talking to Dumbo. This was tough on you, right? When you went through the divorce, separation and divorce. Why didn't you just do what most guys do? And that's okay. You're going to go 500 miles away, 1,000 miles away. I'll catch you when I can.
Again, there's, like some of your other guests were saying, there's this bond, and you can't explain it. I mean, this is my daughter. You know, she's 10 months old. I'm never going to see her again. She won't know who I am. She's going to call somebody else Daddy, and you just can't explain that feeling. I'm thinking, like, you know, what am I going to do? I had no idea I was going to be doing this for like 50 consecutive months. I mean, I just, you know, the first month I went out there, I was scared to death. Is she going to remember who I am? It was like, you know, a month later, and it was, you know, it was very emotionally stressful to do that.
Jennifer, for you, did this make the difference in a lifetime? You're 14 now. Did your mother remarry?
No.
No? So you still have had Dad in your life?
Yeah.
And what's that been like for you?
It's been great. I mean, I don't know what I would do without him, and he's just a great dad.
Absolutely. And you were also picked as Father of the Year for this, were you not?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out, too, but that's, I won't complain. You know.
No, but it's because you did what you did. I mean, there's so many of us, again, I'm going to say it one more time, there's so many children who are products of divorce right now and don't get an opportunity to see their father once in 50 months. And you were back and forth on a plane. You need to be applauded for doing that. Thank you. I got to take a break, but before I do, we got to give a chance to meet the rest of Rich's family, so let's meet them. Your wife, Debbie, and David, Melissa, Timothy, Sarah, Lindsay, Emily, and Joshua. Come on around here. We got to see you. You can sit in my chair, big guy. He's a little guy. Give me that little guy. Again, it takes a, we got to applaud a mom too, but this is for Father's Day. If we ever figure out that we could start acknowledging who fathers are, maybe you find a lot more fathers would participate more than they do. Let me take a little break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about what's going on right now in this society when it comes to fathers and why some of them run away from their responsibility. We'll take a little break. We'll be back right after this.
Including Medicare, no man should expect to develop impotence as he gets older, and no